Chapter 1, The Catalyst, a test, you say? The Dominion's Grand Hall was a monolithic structure of polished obsidian and swirling nebula glass. Every species of importance in the galactic order was present, an ocean of multi-limbed, multi-eyed, scaled, and feathered diplomats. At the highest podium, Overlord Zilthar loomed, his exoskeletal frame flickering in and out of the UV spectrum as he addressed the latest species to stand before him. Humans. At the center of the chamber stood Commander Elias Voss, arms crossed, the barest smirk playing on his lips. Behind him, 12 of humanity's best operatives, soldiers, survivalists, engineers, stood at parade rest, their eyes scanning the gathered Xenos like wolves in a den of sheep. Zilthar's voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the chamber. The Dominion's 100-year survival course is designed to test the limits of adaptability, resourcefulness, and endurance. It is not merely a trial, it is a crucible. No species has ever completed it in less than a century. His compound eyes locked onto Voss with contempt. Your species, in its arrogance, requested this test. We have no expectation that you will survive. But if you do, the Dominion will grant humanity full recognition among the stars. A hush fell over the chamber. Some Xenos chittered in amusement, others in pity. The Deathworlders, these humans, were walking into their own extinction. Voss exhaled sharply, almost amused. He looked up at Zilthar, then at the sea of gathered species, before finally speaking. You designed this for species that don't know how to suffer. That don't know how to win when the game is rigged. That's not us. The smirk widened into something razor-sharp. You want to see what Deathworlders are capable of? Then set the clock. We'll be done by tomorrow. The laughter that followed wasn't human. It wasn't human because no human was laughing. Chapter 2, The Turning Point, You Should Have Made It Harder. The instant the test began, the Dominion's observation decks were filled with scholars, tacticians, and xenobiologists, all eager to witness the humans break. They never saw it coming. The first phase of the survival course was a barren deathscape of shifting sands and flesh-eating winds. Dominion scholars estimated that most species would take 30 years to find enough food, build shelter, and establish a rudimentary survival strategy. Humans? They had fire within 30 minutes. Within 6 hours, they had fashioned weapons, scouted the terrain, and were using the course's own predatory creatures as food sources and weapons. At hour 8, the Dominion's analysts panicked. They have passed the 20-year threshold in a single day, one Xeno gasped, horrified. Impossible. No species has ever. Zilthar's mandibles clicked furiously. Increase difficulty. Drop them into Phase 2. Phase 2 was designed to break the mind. A labyrinth of shifting corridors, moving walls, and zero-gravity death pits. Dominion architects had intended for most species to take 60 years to even navigate the first section. The humans ran. Through sheer ingenuity, pattern recognition, and an utter refusal to hesitate, Voss and his team were through the labyrinth in an hour. One Dominion strategist whispered, voice trembling, "We engineered that from minds operating at three-dimensional awareness." How are they so fast? Another stammered, "They're thinking in 4 dimensions." By hour 10, humanity had shattered every expectation, broken every record. That was when Zilthar realized the truth. They weren't competing. They weren't trying to beat the course. They were tearing it apart from the inside. Chapter 3, The Climax, The Deathworlders Are Coming. By hour 18, the Dominion had stopped broadcasting the event. By hour 20, emergency meetings were being held to determine what would happen if humans actually won. By hour 23, Overlord Zilthar sat motionless in his throne, eyes wide, claws tapping against the armrests. A chime rang. A Dominion official stumbled in, trembling. They've completed the final stage. No, Zilthar rasped, voice dry. That's impossible. It should have taken them a century. It took them a day. The great doors to the Dominion chamber slammed open. Voss and his team stepped inside, bloodied but very much alive. Zilthar's breath hitched as he saw the man. You finished the course? Voss didn't even slow. He strode up the steps to the Overlord's throne, leaned in just enough that Zilthar could feel the heat of his breath. We didn't just finish it. His voice was low. Dangerous. We got bored. The silence that followed was suffocating. A Dominion scholar fainted. Another clutched their head in horror. The Galactic Council had never considered the possibility of a species that wasn't just capable of survival, but thrived in environments designed to kill them. And then Voss smiled. You wanted to see if we were worthy? He leaned in further, eyes sharp as razors, voice a whisper that sent terror lancing through Zilthar's core. You should have been asking if we were merciful. Zilthar's body stiffened. His mandibles quivered. He looked at the human, the creature who had defied him. The monster who had won. And for the first time in 700 years. Overlord Zilthar felt something he had never known before. Fear.